The topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
America, glad you could join us. And also, I'm happy to be joined with Yair Pinto, boots on the ground there, live in Israel. You can see Israel in the background. Yair, good to have you back with us. How are you?
I'm good. It's good to be here. First of all, it's good to be alive. So that
Yes.
You can't say that and take that for granted, especially being in Israel in the past 3 years. And I'm happy to see that we are taking down the most evil regime in the world together with you guys, with the United
Yes.
States of America.
Well, it takes a team, doesn't it, Yair? And I'll tell you, the teamwork between Israel, IDF, Mossad, and America, wow. I mean, even our Secretary of War said, precision thought, precision planning, precision execution. That's what it's come down to, right?
Yeah, definitely. And he also said that Israel and the US together is a force multiplier. And I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
When you have the two most advanced, most professional air forces in the world working side by side, it proves results.
Mm-hmm.
We see that in the first blow of this operation, the head of the snake, the Ayatollah Supreme Leader, Ali Khamenei, was terminated. And
Yes.
now we have reports that the successor, his son, was also hit and was injured in the same strike. So it looks like all the leadership of Iran are hiding now,
Mm-hmm.
and nobody wants to appear in public.
Well, Yair, with your military background, you served as a captain in the Israeli Defense Forces Armed Corps, and to watch how this is being executed, are you amazed just how efficient this is being conducted?
Yes, I've been in multiple wars in the Gaza Strip, in the Lebanon border, Judea and Samaria, and the one thing that you feel at a wartime is confusion and mess. And
Yes.
to see that two different armies are conducting this war so efficiently and so coordinated between each other, it's just amazing. It's just amazing to look at it. And it really is if we are like one body operating together.
I
That's
got to
what it is.
imagine this is really an injection for the military morale, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think that, in Israel, it's not like we needed a reason to go to fight, because
Right.
for us, if we lose even one war, that's it. It's the end of our nation. We are
Right.
fighting for our lives, literally.
Exactly.
So the motivation was always here and is always here, but just to see the successes and to see the fact that an Israeli fighter plane was able to down an Iranian
Exactly.
fighter plane. That's the first time in 40 years of
Yeah.
airplane to airplane warfare taking place. And then also we saw this image of the United States launching a torpedo and sinking a naval vessel of the Ayatollah regime, the IRGC, just exploding like in the movies. It's very, very boosting the morale, especially when you know that you are doing this in order to liberate the Iranian people themselves.
Yeah.
While Israel and the US are attacking the Iranian regime military installations and leadership facilities, the Iranian people are chanting in support of Prime Minister Netanyahu and in support of President Trump. They are in favor of the two armies that are launching attacks against their own nation, because they are fed up with this regime that just took them hostage for 40 years.
Well, it's amazing that you have a Muslim country looking to Israel and America, the two countries they wanted to get rid of, looking to them as their only hope right now, right?
Well, there's a very big important thing to differentiate between the Iranian people and the Iranian leadership and the Iranian regime. So that's what we're seeing now, and we are seeing the Iranian people also burning mosques all across Iran. They are fed up with this religious, tyrannical, extreme regime, and it goes down to multiple levels. But the regime is very, very strong, and it is cracking down any kind of internal opposition with fire. They just threaten now any protest that will be seen in the streets will be taken care as if it's the enemies, meaning
like a military combat. Yeah, exactly.
They will shoot the protesters, their own people.
Well, and they've been doing that. I mean, we've heard numbers, Yair, here in America, somewhere between 40, 60, as many as 60,000 Iranians have been shot in the streets there.
Well, I've heard around 82,000 and even more than that from Iranians that have family members in Iran, that they were moved out of that country when the regime took hold in the revolution in 1978. So the numbers are very, very high, and the Iranian people are fed up with this regime. It's just a matter of when is the time to mobilize, to strike, to take back their power, and who can help them with boots on the ground, because it's not enough. You cannot force a regime change with aerial strikes or with the naval power. You need to have boots on the ground, soldiers and tanks, which is, my background in the IDF. Nobody wins wars with an air force. You win a war with a tank, with infantry, and then you put a flag on the ground. That's how you win a war,
Right. Exactly. And I know in the West, because Americans are crazy. They don't understand military. So few are involved, so they don't understand this. But, you're there to win the war. And if it requires boots on the ground, boots go on the ground. And I don't know of a war campaign that has ever been won by air or by Navy only, because what happens is you're going to have people that they're going to fight to the death, and especially a death cult like what we've been dealing with the IRGC and the local law enforcement there in Iran and the mullahs. I mean, they're going to go down to the last man. I mean, that's just what they do, right?
Yeah, it looks like we can see what they're doing, and we can look at Hamas in the Gaza Strip.
I was going to say
they're a proxy of the Ayatollah regime. We can look at Hezbollah in Lebanon. We can look at the Houthis in Yemen. These terrorist regimes will not give up. They will not just hand over power. They will not negotiate. They will fight till the end. And sadly, they will take down as many ordinary civilians as they can. We have reports now that the Ayatollah regime is placing their missile launchers inside cities, inside civilian densely
hospitals and schools
areas,
I hear,
near hospitals, near schools. And Israel, I don't know if you knew that, but we have an IDF spokesperson that speaks the language of Persian, and he's telling the Iranian people there, like we did in the Gaza Strip, he's telling them, beware, do not get close to rocket launchers. The regime is bringing them close to you because they want you to be collateral damage. They want to use your people, your own people, as human shields, exactly as Hamas has been doing in the Gaza Strip, exactly as Hezbollah is doing in Lebanon. This is the same method. This is the same ideology. This is the same evil spirit that wants to use their own people as human shields in order for the West to blame Israel and the United States in this case again.
Well, exactly. And going back to what you were saying about the Gaza, I guess Israel controls about maybe, 55, 60%. You still got 40% controlled by Hamas, and that is going to require hand-to-hand combat to root them out, because they're not going to drop their arms, just as you said earlier, right?
Exactly. And this is part of the next stage of the ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas. There's supposed to be this transitional government that is made out of people that are not terrorists.
Right.
And then they should take all the weapon away from Hamas. And then there should be elections, and the rebuilding process of the Gaza Strip should continue. But on the ground, Hamas is just getting stronger and stronger. Israel is allowing in 500 trucks of humanitarian aid every single day. Hamas is selling it to its own population and receiving
doing what they did before.
Taxes on it.
Got to go to a quick break. We got more from Yair after this. Stay with us. And we're back with you. Bill Martinez here with Yair Pinto, the boots on the ground. Yes, the director of operations at TBN Israel. And he's giving us, right there, the perspective of what's happening there in Israel. As you were just saying before the break, Yair, is that Hamas is not giving up easy. They're just doing the same thing they were doing before. All the humanitarian aid that Israel has been sending into the Gaza, they're controlling, they're selling it to their people. They're using them as human shields. So really a whole lot hasn't changed other than they don't have as much geography to control right now, right?
Yeah. Well, they didn't have so much geography before that. The problem is that they have around 2 million Palestinians that sadly are also supporting Hamas, but also are under their control, and they are still using them as human shields. This is the situation. They're using the humanitarian aid that enters into Gaza in order to create more money to fund their terror operations and to become stronger and stronger. And they don't want to go anywhere. They want to stay there. They don't want to transition the power to somebody else. And this is the same thing that's going to happen with the regime in Iran. They are going to fight until the very end, and we'll need to also root them out of Tehran with boots on the ground. But there are reports that the Iranian Kurds are in coordination or in support from the CIA and the United States and are mobilizing forces on the ground. It's now in the western side of Iran, but hopefully in more areas. So it looks like there are plans to equip local elements on the ground to take control of Iran.
Is there any indication there in the Gaza that the Palestinians are starting to defect, from Hamas, or are they just so ideologically fixed that they're going to go down with the ship?
No, the Palestinians, all the reports that we are seeing are that they are actually supportive of Hamas, even after 2 years of fighting, even after all the destruction, which is kind of, it's sad to say it, but I'm not surprised by it because they have been brainwashed for 25 years by Hamas. Hamas is and was in charge of the education system, the health ministry, the working system. If you want a job in the Gaza Strip, you need to work for Hamas. If you want your children to go to a good school, you need to send them to a Hamas school. And what do they study in the school? They study that Jews and Israelis are monsters. They study from the textbooks of Hitler, basically demonizing Israel, demonizing the Jews, teaching them that the only solution for a future is an armed conflict. The only option for any kind of future is to kick out all the Jewish people from all of Israel into the sea. Basically, the annihilation of the Jewish people from the river to the sea. That's what this slogan means. And I don't see them changing, voluntarily. It will take at least a generation or two.
At least. Yeah, because you're talking
radicalization.
Yeah, you're talking generational hatred, like you said. And this is these young kids, unfortunately, even though there's some vision that the prime minister has cast, Donald Trump as well, in terms of what a peaceful Gaza could look like and how prosperous it could be for the Palestinians, right?
Yeah, but he also said that the only way is to relocate the Palestinian people into multiple other countries around the world. And I think that that's actually a good option. It's going to be very hard to do it because I don't see any nation accepting them because they are troublemakers as a people. They're very, very intertwined with radical terrorism. So nobody wants them. Egypt does not want them, and other nations around the world do not want to take them in for good reasons. Arab nations that are supposed to be their brothers do not want them, do not want to take them in. Not Lebanon, not Egypt, not Jordan. So, everybody looks at Israel, the tiniest nation, to fix all the problems of the world. But we need to fix the core issue of the fact that they are supportive of terrorism and teaching their kids that that's the only way forward.
Right. Well, and the deal is this hinders the Abrahamic Accords. As you know, right before Gaza, what happened then in October was that Saudi Arabia was ready to come in, and so they had to hit the pause button. And I think these other Arab nations and neighboring nations are ready to sign up for the Abraham Accords, but we've got to settle the situation in Iran. And Iran, of course, is exacerbating the situation. We can thank God, maybe in a sense, because they've lost their mind and they're firing missiles at these neighboring Arab nations, right?
Yeah, it looks like Iran is losing control, because on the one hand, the president and the foreign minister are stating, we are sorry that we launched rockets against our neighbor states in the Gulf. And then an hour later, more rockets and more drones are being fired at them. So what does this mean? It means that they're not controlling all of the military cells because they have communication issues or just chain of command issues. So each cell is operating based on shelf orders that were given before this war started and are not updated on what's happening like in real time. That's option number one. Option number two is that Iran is doing the same thing that they've always been doing, which is saying something and then doing their own thing. Like, yes, our nuclear program is for peaceful purposes only. And then they go and enrich the uranium to a level that you only need for a nuclear bomb. So this is what they've been doing. This is what they keep doing. They're trying to lie to the Western world because they know that the world wants peace and do not want this war. So that's the game that they're playing.
Yeah, and even when you lie, every once in a while you tell the truth, even by accident, like what these diplomats said to our diplomatic representatives, Steve Weiskopf, in telling him that, we've got enough material to, develop 11 nuclear bombs. That's the way they open up the meeting.
Well, yeah, that's not a wise move by them, but it is true because they do have around 460 kilograms of uranium enriched to 60% military grade, which is just a few weeks off from the 90% that is needed in order to create a nuclear bomb. So these materials are still hidden somewhere in the rubbles of the Natanz, Isfahan, or Fordo nuclear facilities that were attacked in the Operation Midnight Hammer by the United States of America. So either the Iranians will excavate and take this uranium and sell it, hide it, or use it, which is a very dangerous scenario. Or, and we have reports of multiple armies and spy agencies of different nations that are already underground trying to locate and extract these materials before they reach the wrong hands. And the wrong hands can be either the IRGC or can be any kind of a terrorist organization, because one nuclear bomb that is missing in the hands of a terrorist organization is more dangerous than 100 nuclear bombs within a state that is playing by the rules.
Yeah, they don't know about rules. It's a different set of rules altogether, no doubt. And that's what we need to wake up to. And I believe the West slowly but surely is doing that. We've got just a couple of minutes left, Yair, and I cannot thank you enough for giving us a live report there from Israel. We talked about the morale of the military. What about the morale of the people, of the Jews, the Israelis there? And, here they've been under attack. I mean, well, this has been an everyday situation since Israel became a nation again, right?
Yeah, I think that the morale here is very, very high. We have been living under the threat of annihilation from the Ayatollah regime in Iran since I remember myself. They have been funding the terrorist organizations, conducting terrorist attacks by Palestinians, by the Hezbollah organization in Lebanon for many, many years. So the fact that now we are acting, we are dismantling, we are taking out their leadership is very, very encouraging. And this whole operation began in Purim, which is a Jewish high holiday that in biblical times, another ruler from Persia wanted to annihilate the Jewish people. And then again, it ended up with him being hanged up in a tree and the Jewish people surviving and being victorious. So I'm just, encouraged. I know that God has a reason for me, my family, and my people to be here. And if he has a reason for me to be here, that means that he's going to take care of me. So it's all in his hands.
Well, it's interesting you bring back the historical civic significance of Persia, because not only did you have Haman and with Purim that we celebrate, but also you have Cyrus who brings Israel back to their homeland, right?
Yeah, brings us and helps us build the city walls of Jerusalem. So I believe that we can have an amazing relationship with the nation of Persia, with Iran, with the Iranian people, as long as we take out this regime.
Amen. Yair Pinto, the Director of Operations at TBN Israel. Yair, shalom. Thank you so much. Be safe.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks again for the time, Yair. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Have a
Yeah, Casey Fleming going to be joining us. He is a counterintelligence executive and CCP specialist, also the CEO of Black Ops Partners and author of the #1 best-selling book in national and international security, Order the Red Tsunami, the Silent Storm Killing Your Freedom, ladies and gentlemen. Casey, welcome to the show. Good to have you with us.
Great to be here.
Well, I wanted to and needed your perspective, as our audience does, in terms of, lots of things are starting to come out in the open regarding Iran and their connection with the CCP. You say 1984 comes alive in Iran as CCP surveillance tech helps murder dissidents, right?
Yes, absolutely. It's technology the CCP stole from the United States. It's AI, facial recognition, surveillance, even camera technology that they've manufactured. All that was stolen from the United States, but they use it to oppress, control, and persecute and even murder people.
Now, how long has Iran adopted this technology?
It's been about 5 years that they've been working on it, but they've been perfecting it over the past 5.
And of course, as you say, this went a long way in helping them deal with the dissidents. And I don't know, Casey. I mean, I'm hearing numbers 30, 40, 50, upwards of 60,000 people have been murdered just in the last couple of months in Tehran. Do you have a better handle on that, or is that still kind of a finger in the air and you just see how the wind blows, kind of thing?
Well, you never get the full truth from states like China and the CCP, like Iran. You never get the full picture. You still don't even get it from the United States about our own people. I mean, we say that there's 75,000 fentanyl deaths every year, and it's 150. Actually, the true number is. The number in Iran, as far as murdered, the number that we see that's consistently come across is 50,000.
Mm-hmm. Why? I mean, you bring up something here in terms of the fentanyl deaths, and you say 75, and I've been saying, more like 100, but you're saying 150,000 that's not being reported. Where's the mainstream media on all this? How come they're not
totally
reporting?
Corrupt? Mainstream media is totally corrupt and compromised. That's why you're not seeing it. Let me bake it down for you a little bit. The number's actually 150,000. It's like World War II never ended. We lost 150,000 troops every year in World War II. It was in every newspaper, every paragraph, and every newsreel, and every American was totally affected. That's 150,000 a year, and those were military soldiers. These are murders of our kids that are. Yes. I'm a little older, so it's our kids that are.
No, I'm with you. I say the same thing. It's our kids. It's our next generation.
Well, what an effective and efficient tool to murder military-aged young men and women, 150,000 every year, and not get it reported on mainstream media because it's corrupt. Let me tell you, that's the equivalent of six regional jets going down every day, just in the Washington D.C. when that American Airlines regional jet went down. That's 1/3 the size of a 737. That was in the news cycle for 3 weeks. So we're losing the equivalent of 6 of those every day, or 2 737s every single day. Why is that not in the news cycle? So my point to your audience is change your news feeds and get news feeds that are going to talk about what's going on. Biological warfare, which is COVID. What about COVID-2? And then fentanyl. And it's not just fentanyl. There's a sundry of other drugs that they're all after and so on. Marijuana. Why are you not hearing about the 3,000 grow farms in Oklahoma alone using carcinogenic CCP chemicals to taint the marijuana, which our kids are showing up in the emergency rooms with permanent psychosis? Why is that not in the news?
Yeah, I mean, all this that you're bringing out, I mean, we've been reporting on it, but you're exactly right. It needs to be more widespread and more aware of, because even when we report it, people go, I didn't know about that. How could you not know about it? This has been going on for the last decade. We've seen the evidence that you mentioned marijuana, that the intensity and the way they're growing marijuana is not like during the Vietnam era, when marijuana was at a certain level. Now it's being laced with fentanyl even to even make it more powerful.
Well, you're exactly right. The THC in marijuana 3 decades ago was 3% THC. The minimum today is 30% THC, and you can barely find that. It's always juiced up to 60, 70, 80, 90% due to what they call extraction. And they call that butter, they call it wax, they call it several different things. So that's the point of what's going on. Everyone's being played. I don't care if you're left, right, or center, you're being played.
Mm-hmm. Casey, something that's been in the news here, and people are a little bit shocked. I mean, I don't know why. Why wouldn't China be tipping Iran off?
They would. Iran is their forward operating base in the Middle East. Venezuela was their forward operating base in the Western Hemisphere. That is part of their global aggression and global expansion for complete takeover, to destroy America, to destroy freedom, and completely take over free countries like the US, Canada, UK, Europe, so on.
What are we missing here? I mean, it seems like China has stayed in the back seat here. I mean, are they just waiting and seeing, or are they just kind of shocked to see the military firepower that America is demonstrating?
Oh, we're hearing that they're pretty darn shocked because for 30 years they've gone unchecked. They've gone unchecked in their global aggression, global expansion. Nobody's beat them back into their cage. And with Venezuela, with the head of the drug cartel, remember, they're partnered with the CCP as well. They're strong partners with fentanyl, money laundering, even human trafficking to weaken the United States. So that's what everybody's missing. So honestly, you're a good straight man, Bill. That's the reason I wrote the book, because no one was telling the truth and no one was connecting the dots. I didn't want to write the book. No one was making it happen, and it needed to happen. So the war is against every man, woman, and child in America. They're on the front lines. They know, they sense something's wrong with COVID and all this other stuff, but they can't put their finger on it. That's why I wrote the book, to connect the dots for everybody.
Well, and the other dot to connect is their attack on the petrodollar, as we know. They were moving any of the commerce that they were doing by way of oil with Venezuela, and certainly with Iran. Forget about America's petrodollar. That was going on. That was being replaced. They were buying with Chinese money, right?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. And that's the plan. That was the plan of the Chinese Communist Party, is to completely destroy the world order that we have today, that was put in place after World War II by the Americans. And to replace everything, the dollar as the central currency, the reserve currency, all these different things. And they were doing a pretty darn good job of it. Yeah. So right now, these hits with with Venezuela, with the Mexican drug cartel, and with Iran are extreme hits to China. We've now controlled and curtailed about 30% of their oil, which was cheap oil for their economy. So you're going to see them also hurting economically. But remember, they're a radical, diabolical, dark mafia regime. I'm talking about the CCP, also the IRGC. But so the point is, it's called cornered rat. The more you stress these guys out, the more they're going to lash out with everything that they have.
Well, exactly. We've got to go to a quick break. We've got more from the CEO of Black Ops Partners and author of the #1 best-selling book in national and international security, Order the Red Tsunami, The Silent Storm, Killing Your Freedom. We've got more from Casey on the other side. Stay with us. And we're back with you. Bill Martinez here with Casey Fleming. Casey, you talk about, China was looking pretty good there in terms of creating this new world order. And they could just see and licking their chops that, America was going to fall. And then comes the second election of Donald Trump.
Absolutely destructive to their plan. But remember, they've been doing this for well over 3 decades. They are so. My advice to the audience is do not be distracted with Iran. It needed to be done. We needed a house clean. Remember, we're dealing with a terrorist organization, so this isn't a clean sweep. Even though we're doing very well hitting their infrastructure, when you're a radical, you go underground and you start fighting underground like a radical guerrilla.
And you're going to have boots on the ground. I don't care when. That's always the number. You're going to have boots on the ground. Of course, President Trump is being rather diplomatic and cagey about it. But anybody that knows anything about the military, that's the only way you're going to root them out. I mean, if you want a total surrender, you're going to end up with hand-to-hand combat at some point, aren't you not?
Right. That's radicals that, when the radicals go underground, you're going to have boots on the ground. Absolutely. The other point that I wanted to make was don't take your eye off the Chinese Communist Party. Your enemy, I expect them, and we're actually seeing they're amping up, they're increasing their cyber attacks, their fentanyl, everything. It's called unrestricted war. It's everything short of military that they're amping up. Education war, cyber war, cognitive war with TikTok,
more biological. Look for another COVID strain or something like that, right? Why not?
Absolutely.
It worked so well for them the first time.
Well, and that's called planned crisis, and that's also in the book as well. And it opens your eyes to understand that you're not in Kansas anymore, Dorothy. Yeah, right. You're in the real world.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is that, by the way, we also have known from the reporting of Peter Schweitzer and Miranda Devine is that there are many people within our bureaucratic structure who have been bought by the Chinese. They've been captured. And so they're doing their bidding within our own country. I mean, these are people that you think should be patriots, right?
100%. A lot of them take CCP money in their reelection campaigns. So that's called foreign influence. China doesn't allow foreign influence. Why do we allow it? Right. And it's also Wall Street. A lot of companies it's called captured elites, where they blackmail you or they're giving you money. Also, our media captured elites. So you're seeing all that. All this, again, I hate to go back to it, but I want the audience to understand there is a light at the end of the tunnel. The book connects these dots for you, so you'll never see the world the same way again. You'll see it the way it must be seen.
You shouldn't see it this way. I mean, you need to have your eyes opened up. And this is what we appreciate, Casey, what you've done on behalf of patriots. I mean, here, our 250th celebration, if we're going to have another 250 celebration, we better get this together. And I know that Trump is disturbing the force. There's no doubt about it, because these things have been well-oiled, established, and predicted over the decades. And Trump has come in and says, look, this cannot work. In a constitutional democratic republic, this cannot work. And then what are they yelling? You're yelling and screaming, oh, he's violating the Constitution. Oh, yeah, right. After all the stuff that you've enacted, now you're claiming that there's a violation of the Constitution. Where do we begin?
Exactly. Here? And that's all part of the Communist Manifesto that is really happening. The message again to the audience is the military is not here to protect you. Yes, with Iran, but remember, there's sleeper cells throughout the United States that are already triggered. And the DHS does not want you to know about the number and the chatter that's really going on behind the scenes. And I'm not trying to scare people. I'm trying to wake people up. Mm-hmm. This is your World War II. It's been renamed and it's been recategorized as unrestricted war. Your family's being attacked all day, every day, with biological, with drug, with social media. It's all planned. And so you have to get involved. Your military's not here to save you. And Donald Trump's not going to be in office forever. So you have to do something that's going to survive administrations.
Well, Casey, as you say, I mean, and we said this right away when, the war with Iran, call it what you want, but certainly when we went after Iran, immediately you go back to the Biden era and the open borders and how many gotaways came from everywhere. God only knows what, for God only knows what in mind. It wasn't good coming into our country. And then here we are with a government shutdown, and the agency that's most responsible for Homeland Security is now put on the bench. Are you kidding me?
Yep, 100%. By the way, don't forget the 200,000 Chinese Communist Party, Chinese PLA, People's Liberation Army Special Operatives came over, 200,000. Not to mention the 16,000 18-wheeler truck drivers that have no-name licenses from California, Washington, and New York.
I mean, what are we thinking here? I mean, are we so captured, Casey? I mean, is the corruption so bad that we're all vulnerable?
Bingo. That's why I wrote the book. We are so far infiltrated and subverted. If you're into football, it's the fourth quarter, 2-minute warning, and we're down by a lot, and there's no timeout. So this is where every American must get involved. And quite honestly, I'm breaking the glass, okay?
Yeah,
in case of emergency. The book is breaking the glass, because I'm not a book guy, but if you make me write a book, I did the book, which I still didn't want to do, but it's there. And I keep referencing it back because these are difficult conversations, and people just throw their hands up, and they say, when COVID happened, they said, would somebody just stand up and tell me the darn truth? And nobody would. Nobody would stand up and tell the truth. And somebody finally did.
Some did. And of course, their medical license were threatened. The media pig piled on them. All the entertainers, oh, you're killing people, because you're recommending that they not take the COVID shot. And of course, even to this day, Casey, I mean, whenever I have a medical appointment, especially when I had a hip replacement, one of the questions they asked me was, had I had the COVID shot? And I said, why are you asking me that? I mean, like, while I'm under, you're going to give me the COVID shot? Are you going to do something to me when I can't resist? Because I didn't participate in that ridiculousness, because I had some wise counsel from doctors that said don't, and I'm grateful that I didn't. And of course, one of the things, like Dr. Fauci said, oh, well, your own natural immunity will only last for, maybe a week, maybe a couple of months if you're lucky. Well, I self-experimented. I didn't take the shot. And I monitored my self-immunity for well over 2 years. My T cells, everything, all the markers were strong as ever. And they were even better because I did get exposed to COVID and my body resisted it and fought it out. And so I built up, a natural resistance that our God has made so miraculously in such a way to protect us from silliness like this, right?
100%. Listen, I am not a conspiracy theorist. All of this is by design, and I back it up with intelligence, counterintelligence, and over 20 counterintelligence global leaders, who's who in intelligence and subject matter experts have endorsed the book. So you're exactly right. Again, I am not a conspiracy theorist. I back it up with intelligence.
Well, it's like, if you were going to take over a country, how would you do it?
Exactly this.
I mean, it's like, all you got to do is open your eyes and see what's happening. Okay, Dorothy, this isn't Kansas. All right. Like you said.
Well, and our brothers and sisters in the UK and the EU and Canada are further down this nasty spectrum than we are. And we're in the final stages. We're code red. We're DEFCON 1. Those guys they've got a couple of breaths left as far as, and we're talking about freedom here. Losing your freedom, not just for this month, but forever.
Yeah. And if you think not, why don't you talk to the people in Iran and what the loss of freedom has meant for them over the last, 47, 48 years, right?
Cubans, yes, Cubans, even Chinese. There's a lot of Chinese people that want to be free, but if they speak up, they get tortured or re-educated, that type of thing.
Casey, I cannot thank you enough for coming on. Casey Fleming, CEO of Black Ops Partners, author of the #1 best-selling book in the national, international security. You must get your hands on it, ladies and gentlemen, and open your eyes up to the reality of what America has become right now. Order the red tsunami, the silent storm killing your freedom. Casey Fleming, thank you for being with us. Take care.
My pleasure, Bill.
Well, I look forward to having you back.